So broadly, if you look at it, the management of DDH is by one of three modalities, either by application of a brace or harness, or by close reduction, or by surgical reduction. And in the next 5 minutes, I will briefly touch upon each of these. So if DDH is diagnosed in the first 6 months of life, the first line of treatment is always application of some sort of a brace or harness. There are varieties of braces that has been devised for the treatment of DDH, but the one which is undoubtedly the most commonly used and most popular is the Paulik harness. While applying a Paulik harness, great care has to be taken about the technique of application, and I like to follow this checklist which I have put up. But most importantly, it is important that the hip be positioned in approximately 100 degrees of flexion, and under no circumstances should the hip be forced into abduction, extreme abduction, because that is an invitation for AVN. When to initiate treatment? So when it is a frank dislocation, the treatment with Paulik harness should be initiated immediately after diagnosis. However, in cases of subluxation and dysplasia, treatment may be delayed for 3 to 6 weeks because, as Kishore pointed out, there is a certain incidence of spontaneous resolution. Follow-up following application of Paulik harness is highly important. So at 3 weeks, a repeat ultrasound is done, and if it shows a persistent dislocation, then the harness is discontinued. Typically, the harness is applied full time for a period of 6 weeks after attainment of clinical stability. Various papers, studies mention a success rate of 50 to 93% with the Paulik harness. However, there are certain complications, notable amongst these being AVN, femoral nerve palsy, which can occur if the hip is forced into flexion, excessive flexion, and Paulik disease is a condition in which there is exacerbation of the acetabular dysplasia, occurs if persistent dislocation persists beyond 3 weeks and still the Paulik harness is persisted with. So in cases of failure of Paulik harness, or in children who are older than 6 months, close reduction is performed. When to perform close reduction? So certain surgeons, they prefer to do it after appearance of the ossific nucleus due to the belief that ossific nucleus offers protection against AVN. However, a recently published meta-analysis shows that there is no effect of appearance of ossific nucleus on the development of AVN. What are the criteria for acceptable? What are the criteria for acceptable close reduction? So the close reduction should be stable and concentric. By stability, I mean there should be a safe zone of reduction of at least 45 degrees. Also, concentricity is assessed on arthrogram. So if there is a medial soft tissue depth less than 3 millimeter and the labrum is not inverted and obstructing docking of the femoral head into the acetabulum, then it is a good concentricity and can be accepted. Following close reduction, the hip is immobilized in a hip spica cast in the human position, that is 90 degrees of flexion and around 45 degrees of abduction for a period of around 12 weeks. If close reduction fails or the child is older than 18 months of age, then surgical reduction is required. Open reduction is the mainstay of surgical reduction. However, femoral and stroke or pelvic osteotomies may be added depending on the specifics of the case. At certain centers, medial approach open reduction is preferred for children less than 12 years of age. The advantages of this approach being that there is a lesser surgical time, and for surgeons who are experienced, they can address bilateral dislocations in a single setting. However, disadvantages are there is a higher incidence of AVN, and capsulorrhaphy and pelvic osteotomy cannot be performed through the same approach. So the anterior approach remains the workhorse for surgical management of DDH. It gives an excellent exposure, gives you the opportunity to tackle all soft tissue obstructions, and capsulorrhaphy and pelvic osteotomy can be performed through the same approach. Following open reduction, if more than 1/3 of the femoral head is uncovered, then pelvic osteotomy is required in children more than 18 months of age. The commonly employed pelvic osteotomies are Salter's osteotomy, which is a redirectional osteotomy, and acetabuloplasties, which may either be the Degas, Pembertons, or San Diego's. Finally, femoral osteotomy is needed in selected cases. So if the hip is irreducible even after a complete soft tissue release, or the reduction is too tight, then a femoral shortening should be performed to prevent AVN. Derotation should be performed if anteversion is more than 40 degrees, and varus is required in select special situations such as revision surgeries. So to conclude, the complexity of treatment of DDH increases with the delay in diagnosis, but long-term follow-up is absolutely vital to look for residual sequelae like residual dysplasia or AVN. Thank you so much.